The spread of fakes is one of the most effective political tools. In 1941, Soviet soldiers were bombarded with leaflets with a photo of Stalin's son, Yakov Dzhugashvili, who had supposedly voluntarily surrendered. The Nazis suggested that the soldiers follow the example of the leader's son. Why the propaganda ploy of the Germans did not work, and what really happened to the son of the leader? We will tell you about it in this clip. July 7, 1941. Vitebsk region. Fierce fighting in the area of the river Chernogosnitsa. The battery of the 14th Howitzer Regiment is commanded by Senior Lieutenant Yakov Dzhugashvili. The advantage is on the side of the Germans. The Soviet fighters are taken in a tight ring. In an attempt to break through the encirclement, Dzhugashvili rushes into a desperate attack. For this battle, the command presented Dzhugashvili to the Order of the Red Banner, but he never received the award. He was searched for a week, or even more, which in the conditions of Belarus in July 41 was a real feat. After all, the front command did not know where the army was, and it was impossible to find a single person. He was not among the dead. At first, the command hoped that Yakov had time to go to the partisans, but time passed, and there was no news from him. According to documents, on July 16, 1941, Senior Lieutenant Yakov Yosifovich Dzhugashvili was missing in action near the town of Lyozno. Later, German leaflets appeared saying that Yakov was a prisoner of war, with photos. It is clear that this was a propaganda move by the Wehrmacht, because despite the successes in Belarusia, the war was going hard, the losses were huge, and it was necessary to somehow turn the situation around. The leaflets had a picture of Yakov printed on them and posted the following text. Do you know who this is? This is Yakov Dzhugashvili, Stalin's eldest son, who surrendered on July 16th near Vitebsk. Follow his example. He is alive, healthy, and feeling great. However, as actor Yuri Nikolin recalled, most Red Army soldiers did not believe this information. Soviet fighters called the leaflets fake and Goebbels propaganda, because Yakov, unlike Vasily Yosifovich, was little known. They didn't know him by sight. Therefore, the soldiers simply did not believe it. Some historians doubt that Yakov Dzhugashvili was even in captivity. The Germans kept dossiers on important prisoners with questionnaires, numerous photographs and films. But nothing is known about Yakov Dzhugashvili's dossier. There was his interrogation, documenting that he was taken prisoner. This interrogation was preserved in the German archives, in the tank army, where it all took place, written in the hand of an interpreter. Yakov Dzhugashvili's signature is not there. In addition, the protocol says that the prisoner is fluent in English, French, and German. In fact, Yakov was not good with foreign languages. Exactly the same interrogation was made, but at a different time and by a different person. In addition to the tank army, found later in the Luftwaffe archives, this shows that such two interrogations were made with some either random people or forgeries. In April 1943, Yakov Dzhugashvili was allegedly killed. According to German sources, he threw himself against a barbed wire fence in the Sachsenhausen camp. A sentry fired a shot and hit the prisoner in the head. If there was a man sitting there posing as Stalin's son, there was no longer any need for him by 1943. The corpse was burned, and no burial place, no trace. To check this version is no longer possible. What about those pictures from the leaflets? Even during the war, professionals noticed the wrong shadows, as if his head had been placed on someone else's body. In hot July, for some reason, Yakov stands in his overcoat, and in none of the pictures does he look at the camera. There are traces of retouching, and the tunic is buttoned on the left side in a feminine way, as if the original photo was mirrored. Military photo montage in the Third Reich was used very widely. Most of the photos that appeared in print were not made by civilian photographers, but by soldiers of special propaganda companies. Their work was subjected to strict censorship. They had to show how the superior Aryan race liberates the peoples from the tyranny of the Bolsheviks. However, there was ideological photo montage in the Soviet Union as well. This was especially true of group shots of leaders. Professionals learned to scrape and paint over Mensheviks, right-wing and left-wing evaders, those who did not fit into the party line. And even those people who were part of the inner circle in the 30s, such as, say, Yagoda, Yezhov, and so on, were also carefully or inaccurately removed. For example, Trotsky and Kamenev disappeared from the photo from the celebration of the second anniversary of the Great October Revolution, leaving only Lenin. And from the 1926 photo with Antipov, Stalin, Kirov, Shvernik, and Komarov, all but Stalin and Kirov disappeared. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and give us your likes. Also see the previous video about how vegetarian diet killed Steve Jobs.